What's up? Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell up above for future uploads, and check out the links posted in the description down below to support the channel. Thank you. I wanted to do another update to this Marvel Legends Haslab Engine of Vengeance because this has been an absolute joy to watch. I would say that the mouse is irate with Hasbro right now. This is 3 possible failed Haslabs on the bounce. All Disney owned products. Star Wars Black Series Rancor, Star Wars Black Series Riva Lightsaber, and now the Marvel Legends Haslab Engine of Vengeance. I would say the mouse is very unhappy. When you have people failing to back these items because they do not think first and foremost that they're worth it, which they're not. This isn't worth 350 at all, and this is pounds sterling. This is the UK that I'm using here. That's before you talk about the USA and Europe, which is charging over 400 in Europe, and the USA, which is adding taxes and shipping to it, which I'm sure the UK is doing also, which takes it over the 400 mark. So even if this gets backed at 9,000, you just get the car and you get Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider. That's the problem with this Haslab. The problem is that this is the baseline product that you're getting and nobody's happy with it. They were hoping the tiers were going to fill it out. As I said, I think that the Haslab should have been Robbie Reyes with the car, Carter Slade with the horse, and Vengeance with the bike. All with lights and sounds. Absolutely has to be done. Todd McFarlane is absolutely eating these people's lunches when it comes to this stuff. There's talk of him now releasing a 7-inch scale Batman 1989 Batwing with lights and sounds. Hasbro in serious trouble if he does that, because that's not being crowdfunded and that's supposedly coming in at about $315, so actually cheaper than this item and being far bigger. This ends in 3 days. Now a lot of people have been talking about the Bug interview that he did at NYCC and holding their feet to the fire. The 4 lads wearing the masks, of course, in the video, very interesting to say the very least. But there was questions that were asked that a lot of people had been wanting to ask this team, and some of the responses were downright embarrassing. You're seeing people talk about, oh, you just don't know what's in the car. There's so much work that's gone into it. Everybody knows looking at this car that not as much work went into this as the Sentinel or Galactus. That's just what you can see with your own 2 eyes. And this marketing push to say, oh, do you not think it's worth it, is nonsense to say the very least. Now, where Bug falls down, and where a lot of people that are out there in the community, they're like, first off, he said he's still backing it. Even though he's saying that the price is very high, he's still backing it. Why? What you're doing then inevitably is telling them, hey, I'm backing this stuff no matter what, even though it's absolute junk, and I'm going to ask you some pertinent questions with regards to this item. Tell them you're not backing it. Back out. Tell them right to their faces, I don't think this is worth 350. Are you joking? And with the tiers that you're giving us as well, they're not good enough. And this is the latest in the line of tiers that have been given to this item. Now this item, I don't think with 4,000 backers, it's losing more and more. It's close to losing 2,000 backers at this stage of the game, which has been absolutely fun to watch. Will it make it in the 11th hour? I think that's the biggest question everyone has. I think there still is a possibility that it could do it, but I would find it to be very doubtful at this point in time, because I think that the Marvel Legends team have thrown in the towel. I think with the interview with Bug, it didn't go down well. I think with some of the pictures that Dwight Stahl has put up online of him trying to promote this, and one in particular was of the car door being opened and closed on a ninja's head. Now I'm not saying that's got to do with me, because I think someone that got way more views and actually did factually get more views than me when it came to this Haslab item was Articulated Ninja, and I was looking at that and I was like, I don't know if that's a message that's been sent there, because previously there's also been a Red Hood figure. I think it's called the Red Hood anyway. It's a character that's going to be appearing very soon, I think, in the Ironheart series, but had a screaming face. And one of the guys in the Marvel Legends team, I think it was Ryan Ting, they made like an offhand comment during the stream being like, this is fans that are upset about any of the prices or what we're doing with this item. And I was like, that's a very strange comment to make. And then a lot of people noted that it looked like the guy who does retro blasting. Now the retro blasting guy has accurately depicted what was going to happen with this Haslab as things went on, which is it's going to start off, they're big box items, they could be done on store shelves, but they're not going to do it, and eventually then you're going to get less and less and less. And he was right. He was 100% right. And no more so than when you see this here. So in the interview, just to let you know as well too, because they have this whole fear of missing out stuff, the FOMO as they call it, on Mephisto, the Goblin Queen, and now this character here, Daimon Hellstrom. These characters are going to come out anyway. What they let you know in that interview was the way they look as they stand, they won't exactly come out like that. They didn't say that those characters won't ever be used again. And here's the thing, Mephisto's supposed to pop up in Ironheart in the MCU. Do you think that they're not going to do a classic version of that character? They absolutely are. Now this comes at the same time that you're seeing Sabak being released at mass retail by Todd McFarlane. So any sort of excuse that these people try to give you is not washing with people anymore. Not at all. And then this comes out. This is the icing on top of the shitty cake that they have put out here as this Haslab. Like I said, would you buy, I'm going to ask you now, let me know in the comments, would you buy a Haslab that featured Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider with the car, Carter Slade Ghost Rider with the horse, and Vengeance with his bike? If you'd buy that, let me know below. Now, Talker Art, I was talking to him previously on one of these posts, and I had said that to him, and he's like, dude, you should be working for Hasbro. I was like, listen, let's not go too far here. I'd love to. And that was a good suggestion that I think I would buy into. But these characters, Daimon Hellstrom, the Goblin Queen, you're expecting these to be added on tiers that are going to be something that people want to buy? I don't think so. And here's the kicker. This has pins. These guys have been running around talking about pinless technology now for, is it nearly 2 years at this stage? They still can't phase it out of the line, even though the likes of Mattel are doing that with all of their figures from what I understand, and I think Todd McFarlane is talking about doing it very soon too with his figures. So they're last to the game anytime that this happens. And the point is, more and more people now are realising with Hasbro that there is innate flaws in these figures so that they can sell you more later on down the road. Even recently with this symbiote Spider-Man that's coming out from the cell shaded line, I think it's $30 now a figure for that, and they're missing the blue paint on the feet of the figure, that symbiote Spider-Man. That's not good enough. But what they're trying to do is going to give you another version down the road, being like, hey, here's a more posable, more accurate version of that Spider-Man. You love that Spider-Man animated series, there you go. And the same with this character here. Old body, old arms, old legs. This is in big trouble. But I also like to say as well too is this. This is from 1 day ago. And this is liked by 8,513 people. Plus the marketing man there in Ryan Ting. So why can't this get funded? Because if you got 8,000 likes on this, surely this can be funded, no problem. It's almost like any time that you put these characters out that nobody really wants or nobody's really interested in, that's done for diversity's sake in particular. Now that's not to say that Robbie Reyes isn't a good character, but he was done for a very specific reason there, was to bring in a demographic. That's what Marvel was saying at the time. But it's a character now that has a failed Haslab on its hands, and you've tried to add a character which an awful lot of people don't know in this character. Goblin Queen, an obscure character that you were hoping the X-Men fans were going to come in and rescue, which they won't. And Mephisto, which are also trying to hide behind this Haslab, which everybody knows is going to come out eventually in one way or another. This is an absolute mess of a Haslab, and I will be shocked, particularly because the mouse is somewhat involved in this, if these guys come out the other side of it. The Haslab team, to me, in that Bug interview, seemed to get the lion's share of the blame when it comes to this. And there was talk about them being a new team, and to me that sounds like red flags, and it seems like the blame game is probably internally going on. You've seen some of the comments that have been coming out there from Short Round, Dan Young, and I mean, a guy, this is something that, as an aside, that I don't really get. People that are recording videos with baseball caps on them when they're indoors, what's that about? What is that about? I don't understand that whatsoever. But anyway, these guys coming out and making offhand comments, talking down to the fans, talking at the fans, telling them, hey look, fear of missing out and all this. Absolute nonsense, absolute codswallop. And I can see him there in the comments there. There's Elite Legend Toys about it, who's also doing great videos along with Talker Art. And the community is finally realising that these people are peddling out absolute junk and figures that are not worth what they are asking for. Because here's the thing, fans now could be setting the price going forward with items like this with very little care, very little attention. Probably the worst marketing that I've ever seen, the worst PR I've ever seen. And what's going to happen is all of these figures are going to get single releases. The car just isn't going to get made. Or we might see a stripped down version of the car at retail eventually. We'll wait and see how things go on that. So anyway, Is this going to make you back it? I don't think it is. Like we've seen just there, this is still struggling for backers. It's 8,000 likes on it, but that's not transferring into actual backers, which is always something that I find to be interesting, because there's over 13,000 backers, I think, there potentially from Mephisto, with the amount of likes that they had on the Hasbro website here, as you can see on Instagram, and yet nobody backed it to that degree. This has been interesting to watch, because now they're really baiting people. I think is it 9,000 to back, 10,000 for the Goblin Queen, 11,000 for Daimon, and then 12,000 from Mephisto. It's still potentially doable within 3 days, I will say. I hope it doesn't get funded, because I think this is going to send a very direct message to these people and tell them this isn't on, and they will have to reshape this going forward. Now, what will this mean going forward? Well, they've already started it, insofar as they're telling you the prices are going to go up. So that's way that they have of getting you back for not backing this. To me, I've become way more choosy when it comes to Marvel Legends. I'm not picking up even a quarter of the Marvel Legends that I was before, and a lot of them now are going on deep discount even here in Ireland. So I'm just waiting until that happens, and I'm saying I'll hold on now, because that character that's over there is a Z-list character. I'll wait on them to come out and go down in discounts. So anyway, great to see this go up in flames as such, pardon the pun. We'll wait and see. I'll keep you updated. I'll let you know what happens on the final day, and when this is done, hopefully there'll be big changes made, and I think some of the interviews going on from here are going to be interesting, because while some of the shields have jumped ship and have publicly jumped ship now, a lot of people out there, yourself included, you're going to remember, and I hope you do. Anyway, make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell up above for future uploads. Check out the links posted in the description down below to support the channel. Talk to you later. Good luck.